Hey guys, welcome back to my watercolor channel, and I start to paint today a corgi. So I really love these little dogs, although it's not really a breed for me because we go walking quite a lot. But yes, let's get started with a beautiful little pup. I really like those little dogs with tiny legs. Personally, I would not get one because I do like to go for a walk, and we also go for longer hikes. So dog with small legs might not be a good breed for us as such. But a friend of mine, she has a small corgi, and I was thinking of her when I was doing this painting. I found this beautiful picture on Pixabay. It is not my friend's corgi, and it looked so happy, and it looks like the spring. At the moment, we still have winter, although the snow is not. There isn't much snow left as such, only a lot of ice. But back to my painting. I have here some yellow ochre and I mixed it with some of burnt umber. I thought I have a first layer quite light, and I kind of wetted the paper. So basically, I think I wetted the whole body, but it dries really fast, and I didn't want to go and paint it fast. I prefer to paint it quite relaxed. I look at my picture and then I add the main features with a smaller brush there. Although the paper is 8A4, the dog itself is a little bit smaller, so I'm a little bit careful and don't use too big brush. Underneath the snout and the mouth, I add a really nice light blue made out of cobalt blue. I want to have a little bit of a contrast between the warm and the colors. Also, the corgi has a color on, which is a little bit of a darker green, but I don't want to have the bright green because the background is relatively bright green and I don't want to collide those two colors together. I added mold to the body, so my first layer is basically wet to wet technique, and I preferred this way so I can play around with the different forms of the body and see maybe later on where I can add a little bit more of a darker edges or rougher edges. And to the ears and the tongue I add some rose madden, so it looks quite nice. And then to the nose, indigo blue, light layer of indigo blue. I work now on the eyes, so and the mouth. The eyes itself are quite brownish and big, and I try not to add too many layers at once, especially as the eyes here are really small. Now, after waited that everything has dried, I continue with the background. So mostly I wet at least the top of the background around the head and half of the body of the little corgi, and I add some of a lemon yellow, mainly because I really want to have a nice bright background. And like I said, it's probably spring or summertime when this picture was taken. I add some of the blue, so cobalt blue. Actually went a little bit more darker than I intended, but it's okay for now. And then it mixed well with the lemon yellow, so I have a nice shades of different greens. I'm careful not to overpaint too much of the corgi. I haven't added, for example, masking fluid, so I have to be quite careful. And then adding more of a darker greens, a little bit on the foreground and where the corgi is sitting or lying. And then I carefully take off some of the color around the doggy, so I want to have it a little bit blurry. The paper is wet, so the background is a little bit wettish, and I add here a little bit of the brownish colors that I mixed before, and it's nicely mixing with the background. But you have to be quite careful to make sure that it's still reasonably wet, so not just moist. I waited till everything has dried, and then I add a darker brown to the eyes, so I'm really careful to keep the shape of the eyes as well as the reflection within the eye. So I have a much darker brown. You can add some indigo blue to the base color, and I will add more details then. Now I continue to add more darker edges and just really looking what the face structure looks like and what the skull looks like, so really kind of emphasizing the different shadow areas and that it doesn't look too two-dimensional, but has a little bit of a roundness to the head and has nice shape. But I continue with adding some darker paint screen, so I added to the nostrils and as well as on the mouth, and then around the snout to add more of a nice grayish colors and look a little bit that the shape is somewhat round. While the eyes have dried, I add more of the darker brown or darker paints gray, and you can see here nicely that it gets more detail, so the eyes start to look really good at this point. And then adding a little bit purple, brown around the neck, so it's kind of like it's recognizable that the Corgies look a little bit chubby, I think, but yes, they have a bigger neck, a little bit of a bigger neck. And then continue with the last bits and adding more of shapes there and a little bit more of the color. I wasn't too happy with the color, so I add darker colors and with a darker green, as well as adding some more of grass to the foreground. Make sure that they have also different shapes and go in different directions. A little bit more blue. because now the background looks really blurry. There's a little bit hardness to it. But soon we are ready. And then adding a bit of a lighter horizon line. More green, light green to the foreground. And then improving the eyes a little bit more. And yes, the pupils of the eye, they were relatively big. So I will improve that later. Bit more darker brown around the eyebrows of the doggy and underneath. And then really just adding smaller details where all the edges were. I actually now took off the masking tape because I thought I was ready, but after it dried, it looked still really pale, especially around the nose area. So I wanted to add a little bit more of a sharp edges there, and I decided to continue with the corgi, so it really looks much better, as well as adding more sharpness to the eyes. With more eyebrows. And then adding a little bit of loose hair. And underneath. But yes, that was it. So thank you for watching and remember to subscribe. Bye.